So it's a sunny day and out of work. It's a good time to contemplate nature and try to find some recreation in it. Um, the problem with some of our um, rush in these times is that we cannot sit still and we feel guilty if we are doing nothing. We always need to be doing something or feel guilty if someone else is working and you're not. But sometimes it's forced upon you. You can be ill or out of work or isolated or not wanted, and that gives you plenty of time to contemplate life and nature and find your inner depth and strength. And that's the possibility you have that other people are uh, not really seeing, even though they have it. So need silence in a way, and to be quiet and to look around you and just look at things with acceptance and wonder, because it is a wonder. We don't see it anymore. We walk on this grass, for instance, but we don't see that it's a wonder. It's it's a kind of it's a life form that's there around us and keeps growing. And they say that the grass, cockroaches, and the viruses are the ones who are gonna inherit Earth in the end. And maybe that's very much true, because we are here just as people who, like me, are sitting in this grass right now in nature, and in a moment gonna leave it and go back to my work and to my daily activities, and so are others. So when we ever find time to sit in nature, what happens to us, and do we really think about where we are? I found it in Greenland. That's very deep, a deep way of thinking and relating to nature, because it's surrounding the people. While if I went to big cities like my old home country in the Middle East, or some big towns in Europe, you will feel you are losing sight of this deeper meaning. So I found people in Greenland really enjoying nature in a different way and recreating by it, like sitting there for hours and hours and filtering out all that culture and input and work related activity that they have all around them. So that's what sitting out here means to me, uh, and I have been doing that. And then I listen to these birds and wonder, they are nations like us, seeking their food and protection and looking around them all the time, not to be hurt by some stronger animal. And some of them are very cunning and clever, and they live much longer than these creatures hunting them. Uh, and this is the nature that's being, of course, destroyed by us and taken over by our greed, first and foremost. It's not only development. Development is good, but the greed makes us cut very deep into nature and never leave any areas out, as we see in the big stone towns, that the small areas of nature are gone because it's money and it can grow, and they've never felt the taste of sitting in a grass like I'm doing now, or listening to these birds, unless they occasionally and very rarely go to a place where there is a park. If I think of New York right now, and the activity of cars and people and smoke and trouble and noise all the time, and people very busy achieving something, and then suddenly they go to this park, and even there they don't find the big rest they need. But if they do, or they go to some other countries and sit there in the nature, they start feeling something totally different. And when they come back, I'm sure they're not able to cut that tree. They have been cutting without thinking, because they will be thinking of the value of it and how it give recreation to the mind and soul. Um, just 5-10 minutes. I take a walk and sit out in the place where there is green or sea, or rest where you are surrounded by nature. And so we we are not taking that into consideration many times, where we are building uh, homes and cities, uh, to really leave big areas surrounded the places or the houses, or sell it with it, and say to people, you have to have a green area, and you have to have at least three, three acres, or not acres, what you say, 3 meters to to plant something. And anyhow, these regulations can be easily made politically, and we really need them, because they will give back that balance between nature and culture that we need. And I know it feels hard for many people who are running away from the countrysides, many places, because it's hard work, and it's a lot of insects and so on. But that's who we are, and we should never lose contact with that, or else we will lose part of what gives us that inner peace we sometimes are seeking in the office buildings of a therapist, with a small artificial tree in the corner. That's the only green maybe you find in there. And so that's why I got this idea that I'm sitting out here, and there are some strange kind of flies dancing in the sun and on the waves here of the ray of light. They're making their dances in and out, in and out. It's very beautiful, and the birds chirping in the background. Yeah. And me just looking at this grass and feeling blessed and in big grace, forgetting everything, and enjoying this moment intensely and deeply. And so part of what we also do is, when we go to these places, is to try and not always talk and getting busy with the food and activities and the grill and all that, and the big stereo in the background that leaves the nature far behind, but just to give time to listen to it and its natural silence and the voices that's in it. That's something we should learn. I didn't know it as a kid. I'm not saying I was born like this. I'm a city boy, always been living in a town from my parents' time, and then sometimes later they moved out into the country when we were kids, but that didn't really affect me. And later when we got into town, I was so occupied with all the townish thing, the cars and the driving and the cafe and walking in all that. That's also something that we like, but I'm saying that I lost contact with these things, and just occasionally had time to feel nature when we took a walk alongside the seaside in the town of Aarhus in Denmark, out to the Marcellusborg, a very beautiful forest. I used to arrange some yearly runs there for people. And so with time I got to understand more the importance of just letting go just for 10 minutes and enjoying the sun and sitting in it. And I know many people does, so it's nothing I'm saying that's strange, but also really many people doesn't and hasn't got the time or chance, because they are living in these stone buildings, stone walls, and the towns surrounding them so far away to get to nature. It's a trip in itself, and that's what's going wrong also in our building planning, the planning of the towns and cities. They think occasionally of what they call recreation areas with playgrounds and little trees and grass and place people can go to, but they are misunderstanding it. We need it around us, we need it close by, and we need to have responsibility for it, and we need to feel that we are in contact with it. That's what will keep people more in balance. That's a message to all those HR people working on managing people's efficiency and stress levels. And that would put half of the therapists out of work, because I know people will find some inner peace and begin listening to their inner voices and find tranquility in a way that that makes you feel like you are already in heaven walking on this earth just by sitting like me 10 minutes in this grass, forgetting everything, and just reminding yourself of how nature is and whatever you think or don't think, and empty your mind or don't empty your mind, you will just feel it and it will surround you, and suddenly you are closest to yourself, and that thrilling feeling of being relaxed, and you forget everything else and the noises and the people, and 10 minutes later you are ready again and you can go back. Sometimes you need half an hour or 1 hour, and that's why people go on vacations, because the lifestyle is so out of balance that work, work, work 10, 11 months, and seldomly resting. Even people who have gardens, I know people with big gardens and big places, they are not really enjoying it. They're just working in it. They are like the old workers from the farms in the big states, and they're just working, working, working around, and then they finish and they look back and say, nice work, and then they go in and rest. It was just like another job. So starting to learn to create this contact with nature, and being in it and enjoying it, seeing the imagination of it, and imagine a kid in this grass now, and later there will be butterflies, and there will be a lot of things, and the sun up on the sky, and it's just amazing, relaxing, and it's just life-giving in a way that's very lost. So if it was up to me, I would build in a new way. If I could influence politics or decide, I would force every town and city to rebuild and to take down part of its stone buildings and walls, to bring much more green in between, and to build a whole new city that's based on this idea that everyone who wants to live there has to have responsibility for a green area, or not only a green house but a green area, and and make it grow in his or her own way, and that's where you find people really, and it shouldn't be that expensive. It should be available for almost everyone, because it's a human need, and I know it's not possible for everyone always, but we should make it more accessible. We should see the value of it, instead of these people only building and see the value of the meter they are selling. It's maybe so and so much extra they are getting per meter, but they could think it into that economy, and at the same time create a more balanced work. So here I am, sitting a bit in nature, enjoying both sun and the silence.